It started with the character Meera, who for me was very interesting, and I thought that we have never seen a pregnant woman express her sexual desire.
सॉरी आंटी, इस टाइम पे डिस्टर्ब कर रही हूँ। एक्चुअली आकर्षण अभी तक घर नहीं आए हैं और बोला भी नहीं था लेट हो जाएंगे। मैं एक फ़ोन कॉल कर लूँ प्लीज़।
Hi all, it's Silesh Ram, AsianCultureVoucher.com. How are you doing? It's great to have your company. Be talking to Siddharth Chauhan, the writer-director behind a film called Amar Colony, which had its world premiere at the Tallinn Black Nights Film Festival and won a special jury prize there in Estonia. It's now going to Kerala International Film Festival. Will be its first screening there. It's a taboo-breaking drama set in Amar Colony. Let's go and find out more. Tell us a little bit about how you came upon the story Amar Colony. What kind of inspired you to write it?
So, Shailesh, I was making my short film in Shimla. That's my hometown, and that's when I found this building, which really fascinated me. And especially the interiors of the building, those long corridors, the bay windows. So and I saw so many closed doors. I just wanted to tell a story behind each of those closed doors.
How did the characters form? I mean, they're very interesting, especially the women characters. How did they form in your head?
That one of the characters, Durga, who is the Lord Hanuman Bhakt,
Yeah,
was inspired from one of my neighbors who
right.
who was very religious. So that's where the inspiration came from. And the pregnant woman was just something I thought of, because I one of the themes which were common in all of these three stories was that they're lonely,
Yeah,
and they're also seeking something, and they're trapped inside
yeah,
this building, and also in their lives in some way. So I thought that it would be better to I mean, I personally found the idea of a woman who's pregnant, she has a baby, almost clinging to her, all the time, and how can she feel lonely, so that was very interesting for me.
it's quite a taboo-breaking film, especially there are some sex scenes. And how did
Yeah.
you what gave you the confidence and the courage to do that?
It started with the character Meera, who for me was very interesting, and I thought that we have never seen a pregnant woman express her sexual desire. So when this thought came to me, of course I wanted to explore it, but I wasn't even sure if it all of this was possible. So I actually went to a doctor, and and I had so many questions, and then started asking whoever I knew around me, about the time when they were pregnant, did they have sexual urges at that time, how did they feel about it. So I did my share of research, and then I found out that it actually makes no difference, and in fact, so many in my research I found sometimes feel like the sexual urges all the more when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting for me, and I knew that we've never seen it in Indian cinema. So I thought, yeah, why not make a character like this? And because I knew that my story is based in a very conservative and a traditional society, I thought when I'm making this film, it would be interesting, to show some really bold scenes as well. Yeah, I mean, like, not hesitate from showing, that. Yeah, and because the architecture, the interiors of this entire place was so interesting, then so I thought that let's also make the graphic, let's also make the sex scenes very graphic, and and
Yeah.
like very interesting to watch.
Right, sure. And now tell me a little bit about the casting and the cast, because obviously, especially playing scenes like that where there's some, physical involvement. They're professionals, or I understand there were some non-professional people who don't have very much experience. Can you talk a little bit about how you went about casting?
Yes, so I was very sure that I want some local actors, but it's not always possible to find the kind of actors that you're looking uh, locally. So I did not limit myself to like just to my hometown, but we in our casting process, we started spreading the news to that we were looking for all of these characters. So we circulated our advertisements to so many theater groups in Delhi, then in Mumbai, and we just tried to reach out to as many people as we could. I was very clear in my head, the kind of characters I wanted, but until and unless I don't see them audition for me, I'm not able to pinpoint, that yeah, this is what I want. So
Right.
these were just characters, when I saw their auditions, I was just very sure that yeah, they have to, that they'll be able to do justice to these characters.
And how was it directing them in those kind of scenes where there's some physical interaction?
We rehearsed for the other scenes but not the intimate ones,
Yeah.
because we thought that it would be better to like to come up with some improvisations, or just to discuss it there and then. At the same time, we had discussed, like I made sure that much more than directing them physically, in terms of literally what they should be doing, my process was that I would have a lot of interactions with them where I would tell them what the character was feeling, and then perhaps give them 2 3 options, and then I just left it to them to decide that how they would like to play it on screen.
So would you say the main theme of this film is loneliness, even though there are obviously some relationships, but then none of them are really very settled or stable?
I think there are a couple of themes. Loneliness is one. Another one I see is sexual repression. Then I also see that everyone is that each character feels trapped.
There's an incredible level of frustration, I think, with all the characters in this film, and
Yes.
in a way it's slightly unsettling as a viewer, but I think that's the effect you want, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So what has been I mean, it's shown, it had a world premiere at the Tallinn Film Festival. Did you, what was, how was the reaction, and what did you get from the reaction of the screening? You were there in Tallinn, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there.
How did it feel to get a prize?
I don't know how to how to explain this feeling. Like I did not go there with any expectation in my mind, but yeah, it was very yeah, it's very encouraging. I'm so encouraged, and my belief in my own vision, in my own filmmaking style, strengthened because of this award. So I'm so grateful they chose our film. They
Yeah, I
loved
was
how
saying
the
that
film was so rooted in in the Indian culture, and they also loved the symbolism in the film. You know, the music, all those like interesting, especially the parts, the bits where we enter the surreal, or the imagination of the characters.
Yeah, so
So
I wanted to
yeah.
talk a little bit more about that. Was that why did you want the surreal elements? What was important in telling the story to have those surreal elements, and how did you again manage that process?
So, in my opinion, I thought that their lives were so boring and so monotonous that that for them to find some meaning, or to find some excitement in their lives, it was important to go into that space where we enter their imagination. Because if you come out of the imagination, then not much was fun around them.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you come to make this feature. Where did you get the money and so forth? How did this whole project get off the ground?
Salish, I'm an independent filmmaker based in out of Shimla, which is my hometown in Himachal Pradesh, northern India. So I've been making films since the past almost 8 to 10 years, and this is my first feature. So I never thought that I would, when I started out, I never thought that I would want to make features.
Nice.
I was just so fascinated with with this medium, with the language of cinema, and and this form of storytelling, that I just wanted to tell as many stories as I could. And it took me a long time because I was working independently. So I would, on an average, take like nearly like six something around between 6 months to 1.5 2 years to make one short film. That was the speed at which I was working.
So
And
you've
then
made
this
quite a lot
film
of short
happened.
films. You've made a lot of short films.
Yes, yes. And then not a lot, but yeah, maybe 6 or 7 of them. That's how much, how many I could pull off in the past 1 decade. And then I happened to make this short film called Papa. And that's when I discovered the space. And then and this idea just struck me that why not tell like a bigger story, like let me tell more stories and club it into a film. So yeah, and I was fortunate enough to find producers who were so supportive. They gave me all the creative freedom to to make the film the way I want. wanted to. I think what you see is a result of that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you all the best with the film and the screenings coming up in India. Take care.